John Tortorella officially joining the Philadelphia Flyers. We reported here at Daily Faceoff last weekend that John Tortorella and Barry Trotz were the two finalists for the position. I believe the Flyers did offer the position to Barry Trotz first. He decided to go in another direction. In this case, John Tortorella ends up being the guy. Feels like Matt, in some ways, like someone that was born to coach in a certain market like Philly. That intensity, that fire that you see, he's also the oldest coach that the Flyers have ever hired in their history. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. The Flyers need to do some major roster reconstruction, but what do you think about the fit?
It's an interesting fit, and I do think it reflects the line that sort of has been repeated many times now from Flyers Governor Dave Scott, the blank check line, right? Because to me, John Tortorella is not a coach that you bring in if you want your franchise to tank. He will take whatever you give him, whether it's low talent, high talent, he will make it better. He will wring every last drop out of it. You saw how many times he did that with the Columbus Blue Jackets, especially in 2019-20. That team had lost Matt Duchene, Artemi Panarin, Sergei Bobrovsky, and somehow going into that bubble pandemic, or the pandemic bubble tournament, the way the standings had frozen, Columbus was right there still competing for a playoff spot. They had so many injuries that year. But Tortorella builds a culture, just sort of next man up. Doesn't matter who I'm working with. I'm going to turn all these guys into warriors. We're going to block shots. We're going to be unselfish. We're going to play defense first. So you're going to see, I think, an identity change in Philadelphia. I think you're going to see guys like Scott Lawton get much more of a prominent identity because that's more of a John Tortorella type of player. We know Cam Atkinson, of course, had the best seasons of his career playing under Tortorella. So you're going to see more hustle on this team. You're going to see maybe some more guys going in the doghouse as well. What I'm really curious about now, and Mike McKenna said this on our website, Daily Faceoff, he had a column about free agency, and he said that he once was too scared to sign with the team because John Tortorella was the coach and made him stay away. So will this deter some free agents? I'm not sure.
It could. The big thing I wonder about is, how will young players, which the Flyers will need to introduce at some point for a team that, they're clearly thinking that they're not heading towards a rebuild, that they are going to be able to bounce back in short order. Maybe the Ryan Ellis can get healthy and Sean Couturier is healthy and you get a healthy season from Kevin Hayes and maybe things look a little bit different. But at some point, they're going to have to trust young talent and they're going to have to introduce more young talent. And after the things that John Tortorella said publicly as an analyst on ESPN, basically condemning or criticizing the Trevor Zegras goal from earlier in the season, I don't know how as a manager you could look at that, especially when this league is younger than it's ever been and they're making more of an impact than they've ever been, young guys, that you could trust that coach to be able to get the most out of those players. That to me is the biggest question mark of all when it comes to John Tortorella and his upcoming role with the Philadelphia Flyers.